And we have a full roster for you today. However, we're only going to be dealing with 2 subjects. So let's get started. This is sort of a cleanup from last week. We knew this was coming last week, and due to our own way we scheduled our programs, we were not able to bring it to you, and that is this. The camp for military veterans primarily, but they also served any homeless who came to the camp and needed services in Tucson, Arizona, called Bravo Base Camp Conklin. If you remember, during our Unified Theory series, this is the camp that we featured. This homeless camp on private property has been closed by the city of Tucson. And so let's hear what KGUN from Arizona, the ABC affiliate, has to report on this.
Also today, the shutdown of Bravo Base is almost complete.
The camp on the edge of Tucson, Santa Rosa was a place to house homeless veterans. It began to house non-veterans too. As 9 on Your Side's Craig Smith reports, code violations and neighborhood complaints shut the camp down.
Bravo Base began about 3 years ago as a place for homeless veterans. Organizers said the vets felt togetherness as if they were back in the military. The camp would take in other homeless and feed homeless people in the neighborhood around Santa Rita Park. But the city of Tucson says the camp's a health and safety hazard that violates the city's building code, so it is under orders to fold its tents and move out. Addie Mendoza says she went from 2 years of volunteering at Bravo Base to managing it.
And it's definitely better than sleeping under the bridge, under the tunnels, and not knowing who's coming at you or who's going to hurt you, who's going to steal your things. This was a safe place for them.
Organizers say at the peak they had maybe 72 people here. That would have been at the coldest part of the winter. At the time of the eviction notice, they had 42, 22 of whom were veterans. The camp was just south of neighborhoods in Councilmember Steve Kozachek's Ward 6. He says the city worked with the property owner for quite a while to clear the camp, and now there's a plea agreement that drops fines against the property owner in return for closing and cleaning the site.
Understand, though, that we are offering all the people in the camp services that they need. So this is not an inhumane or heartless move by the city. It's something that's been a long time coming, and we are doing everything that we can to make sure that the people in the camp have the services, access to the services they need.
But camp organizers worry shelters won't let homeless people stay with spouses or pets or have the spirit they felt at the camp. Craig Smith, KGUN 9, on your side.
KGUN's report, as all of the other reports in this broadcast, are presented under Title 17, Section 107 for news, information, education, and discussion. Moving on to our next story. This is a story that started bubbling up a few days ago, and it was mentioned in the form of what do you think of, or what is this thing, in Roy Potter's live stream yesterday. And Roy didn't seem to think that it held much water. He didn't really say one way or another. He just said, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't, I'm not quoting him directly, but, essentially he was saying it doesn't pass the smell test. So what am I talking about? This so-called Operation Hot Musket that has bubbled up over the last couple of days. Now, we're going to go to the place where this started. We're going to the show of the place where the original call came in, and this was a call-in YouTube show, Marfoogle News. And this is not the original show. This is the show. He has two shows that he does. One is a live call-in, and then one is a different show. But he addressed it on this second show as soon as he was done with his call-in show. So let's take a listen and let him tell you what happened.
What's up, guys? It's Marf. It is technically 11/17/2018, and we just got finished with our call-in show on the other channel. Now, as many of you know, there was over 1,900 in this call-in show. It was an absolutely shocking call. So just to give you a little backstory, if you've not seen the previous video, make sure to check that out. 2 nights ago, a gentleman who is active duty was home at convalescent leave, which means he was at home for up to 58 days with his newborn baby. But after 22 days, all of a sudden he gets, on the 14th, a letter saying you have 72 hours to deploy. But that's not the scary part. The scary part is the fact that it was a domestic deployment. So I asked, is there anything that you can give us documentation-wise? He says, well, yeah, I can give you the AKO, the Army Knowledge Online Deployment. He redacted his personal info, but apparently he left enough numbers for a veteran to break it down and to tell exactly where he was going. So what you are about to hear was the first caller of the show, which shocked about 1,800 people live. Pay attention, because this is really happening. All right, let's get a 254 on here. Hello, you are live on Marfoogle TV.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. You sound perfect.
Hey,
First off, what do you want us to call you, and where are you from?
I'm from Texas, and I'm ex-military as well, and I've got a daughter that just recently got out, and her husband is still in the military. And I found some information out just from some of the stuff that you posted online from that guy's orders, and from when I was looking it up, he's being sent to Lubbock, which Lubbock only has one military base, which has been closed down for 20 years. It's been converted into a technology center. When you look up that technology center, what they do is make high-frequency weapons.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? They make high-frequency weapons?
Correct. They're truck-mounted. So I tried to send you a message earlier. If you look at what his deployment says, it says he'll get to his captain, and he'll be issued his. There's two codes there. One is for radio equipment. The other one is for that specific weapon. It's a truck-mounted weapon when he gets there.
Are you talking about like EMF? Like, are you talking about the I mean,
like a radio wave. It's almost like a microwave. It's for like crowd control. So it kind of got me to thinking that it's either something that they're going to deploy to the border, or what I was more fearful of is possibly martial law.
I'm sorry. What was your? Did you have a? What was your rank? What branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
I guess you don't have to. You can tell whatever you want. But are you recently retired? Or you acted?
No, I got out in '86.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got out the day I was born. Okay. So, do you? How do you know that this is a research? Can we look this up together? That would be great.
Yeah. If you look up the Technology Research Center, I think it's look up.
Is it
I believe
Reese?
it's Reese Air Force Base.
Reese Technology. 20 years later, rebirth from Air Force Base to Technology Center.
Correct. And if you look up the code, one of the two codes that he's going to get from his captain. One is a radio equipment, but the second one is the machine that, or is a tactical unit that he'll be issued. And then if you look that up, it says that it was created by the Technology Center.
This is crazy. Do you realize what this means? I mean, what else could it be? Like, it's a classified operation called Hot Musket. What the? I mean, are you kidding me? What did we stumble upon?
I tried to reach you all day, trying to figure out some way to reach you. I sent messages but everything I tried to send just kept coming back that it was undeliverable. So I don't know what was going on.
I am so sorry. This phone number is usually only on for the show, and then I to be honest, I have not been on email today. I did the radio show. This is nuts. Hold on, I'm just scrolling through. I'm so thrown off by this.
Yeah, it'll be from a 254 number. My daughter, me and my daughter was talking about it this morning real early, and was trying to figure this thing out because she went over the orders to make sure that the orders were legit. She said yes, that the orders were definitely legit, and found out where he was based and what unit he was out of. And she has friends that are stationed at the same place where he's at, but she's in intel. And she called her and tried to talk to her, but she said, I don't know where you got this information. She said, but I can tell you right now, I cannot comment on it.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the orders. All right. So that was the call. That a second call that came into Marfoogle News confirming or discussing these so-called orders that another caller prior to this second call called in and talked about. So let's look at the orders. It's dated November 14 November, presumably 2018, but it's cut off, so, in this copy we can't confirm that. So, Department of the Army, headquarters, blacked out and redacted combat team, Fort Stewart, Georgia, and it gives the order number and the person, Army personnel to whom it's issued is redacted. Staff Sergeant second, and then the unit name or the battalion name or the division name, what have you, combat team at redacted Fort Stewart, Georgia. You are deployed as temporary change of station. In the Navy, this is called TAD, temporary assigned duty, or temporary assignment duty, TAD. So the branches have different acronyms, but it means the same thing. So this guy is temporarily assigned. As shown below, you are to return to your permanent station upon completion of duties in support of this operation. You will submit a reviewed travel voucher for this travel to the finance office within 5 working days after return to home station. And this is assigned to the staff sergeant whose name and rank are redacted. But we got it, staff sergeant second. All right. For deployment in support of Operation Hot Musket. Number of days, indeterminate. Will proceed date, 16 November. So he got it, it was dated the 14th. He's instructed to proceed as of 16 November, and the customer identification code, CIC, is 57. I don't know what that means, just being honest with you. Additional instructions, CPT redacted to provide additional detail upon arrival, and then RCA is a radio unit, and ADS is that crowd control, truck-mounted crowd control, active defense system or something like that. I forgot the exact acronym. I'm sure somebody will, in this report, the people that we've got lined up will give the correct, but it's the truck-mounted thing that looks like a big square, and it releases a microwave at a certain gigahertz power, and heats up your skin to 1/64th of an inch, which is just below the surface. It goes just deep enough to hit the nerves and heat them up or activate them, activate the molecules around those nerve endings just below the surface of your skin. So it heats them up to where you're uncomfortable. It would be like opening a pizza oven, for example. Pizza ovens usually are set at 550 to 6, well, between 5 and 600 degrees, usually not up to 600. Usually it's about 550. And so you open that door and you get a blast of hot air. Trust me, I've got experience with that. So, what is the exact temperature? I've forgotten. It's probably in the report we did last week about the ADS system as it relates to border security. The report we published stated that they were deploying this ADS system for border security. All right. So he's going to be issued a radio, and apparently will be involved in this ADS system upon arrival, or authorized for it. This is a indeterminate temporary change of station, TDS, with future assignments to be determined. Soldier will be attached to the TCS duty station at Lubbock, Texas, the active field at Lubbock, Texas. This deployment is a TCS for an indeterminate amount of time, which will be less than 12 months. And then there's some additional information. Movement designator code PME7, don't know what that is. Additional instructions. This is temporary change of station. Soldier will be attached to TCS duty station in the immediate area of the operational location. Normal PCS entitlements, allowances, and relocation of family members are not authorized. So what does that mean? That means that this guy, who it just so happens was home on convalescent leave, which in his situation was defined as a 60-day leave for the birth of a child. Soldiers must secure reservations for CONAS Replacement Center, CRC, in order to, I think it's attend the mandatory training en route to operational locations. MACOMS will call the Army travelers assistance center, ATC, and then the rest of it is cut off. So it's telling him he has to report within 72 hours. He will be reporting to Lubbock, Texas, the active Army Air Force field there, and it's an indeterminate amount of time, not to exceed 12 months. He will be assigned certain equipment, and so on, and we don't have the rest of it. Okay, so let's just quickly look at Reese. Reese describes itself as one of the most successful redevelopments in history. The conversion of a former Air Force base in a business and research into a business and research park that took place over 20 years ago continues to stimulate economic growth for the area, which is Lubbock, Texas. By creatively repurposing existing military assets and continually upgrading and developing new features, Reese strives to be the paradigm for redevelopment projects. Let's take a look at the map. Here is an aerial shot. Let's get this out of the way. Here's an aerial shot. Let's even zoom out 1 degree. This is the Reese Technology Center here, but there's all this other land, including Reese Airport. Here's the runway, and so forth. This technology center has outbuildings, the educational center, the Reese Center, South Planning College, campus bookstore, Institute of Environment. We hit the airport. What else? There's a conference center somewhere in here, and this looks like a track to me, like a running track, but I don't know. We're not going to dwell on it. The point I'm trying to make is this converted Air Force base was redeveloped. It looks to me like it is Tier 1 military support. So in other words, a private company with educational facilities and other facilities, including an airport, to be like a Tier 1 military support and development company. And this, incidentally, is where that ADS system was developed, on this reconfigured Air Force base. But there is, as we saw in these orders, alleged orders, there is still a place to be deployed from. The other place is Waco, Texas. We're not going to spend time on Waco, Texas. All right, the next piece we have here is from RKTNN Truth News Network. This is Terrence Williams, and he has a call-in radio show. We're going to listen to a clip he produced from a longer show where he got calls, and he makes his position very clear. So let's take a listen to what he says and 2 of his callers say.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I just got a text on my phone, and they're saying that Alex Jones is not reporting on this thing. So I don't know. Like, if Alex Jones ain't talking about it, then I don't know what to say, America. Like I said, we gotta focus. Like I said, look, guys, I'm not against other YouTubers. I'm not. But just because somebody else, that's what they report on. That's their stuff. I'm looking into it. I haven't found anything. But listen, I'm not the authority on this stuff. I'm just researching. Let me research. Don't try to tell me or convince me whether it's true or not. Let me do that on my own. Let me find the truth for myself. Don't tell that. And this is the problem with fake. It's like fake news. They go out and they tell you all of this stuff, and everybody believes them. I don't. I go and I research the stuff. And right now, I'm still researching. I haven't found anything that I can go on. I've heard some stuff, but nobody wants to put in a, and like I said, if somebody sends me military ID, I'm not going to be stupid and show it to everybody, but I need to see it for myself. I need to verify. What documents did they send you? Fax those to me. Let me see that stuff. Because if I had truth, I'd be really, like I said, if they got some plan, let's play devil's advocate, okay? If there's a plan, and they're talking about shooting people in America and taking over the country and all, using the military to do this and all this other stuff, listen, okay. Let's say I'm one of these military guys. I got called in and I'm going to go do this. First of all, why would I call a show and tell you that I'm getting ready to do this? And then I call and I tell you, yeah, I'm military. I'm military, and we're going to do this. You guys don't see my face. You guys, I don't give you any evidence. You just got to take my word for it. Sorry, I can't take your word for it, bro. I can't. I don't care who you are. You'd be crazy to believe something like that. That's just my opinion. I research stuff. I don't just go by what people say. I research it. You got to give me something so I can believe you, because I have an audience, and you're telling me to really go out that for it and give this to them. I'm not going to go on no hunches. Caller, you are on live with Randal K. Taylor here on RKTNN News. There are two of you guys on the line.
Hi,
Hold on. Whoa, Nilly. Whoa. Hold your horses. We got two people on the line, and I can only take one at a time. So I'm going to let the lady go first, and after the lady goes first, then the second guy can go. But you got to be quiet and hold on. So, Miss Ma'am, Mona, you can go first.
Okay, and I'll make it quick.
All right.
On the Operation Hot Musket.
Oh, stop! No. Okay, go ahead. What do you got to say about Operation Hot Musket? Go ahead.
My trusted source is Hal Turner, and he says it's a hoax. He was in touch with a lieutenant colonel from the Pentagon who says that it is not valid. Hot Musket is not valid.
Okay. She's saying
and
that. Okay, go, caller. Go ahead and say what you just said. Now, this is what a caller called in to say. She said, and she gave the name of who told her this. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, this is Hal Turner. He's one of the guys I trust. He says, I have official confirmation from the Pentagon, Lieutenant Colonel Val Danza.
Lieutenant Colonel Val Danza. Okay, hold on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The documents allegedly showing deployment orders for Operation Hot Musket are not valid. That there is no Operation Hot Musket. I myself did what you said you did, which was after one of your callers talked about it, I went out and did a search, and I found just what you found. I found a lot of buzz about it, but nothing that was persuasive. So I thought you made a very good point when the caller called, and I was kind of chagrined that the caller would not accept what you were saying and continue to argue with you. So I just wanted to call you up and let you know that I think that we are right, that there is no Operation Hot Musket, and that's all I needed to tell you.
Thank you very much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this video, I'm going to chop this part out, and I'm just going to upload this, and I'm going to put Operation Hot Musket. I'm just going to say what I've heard. I'm not going to say whether it's real or not, because people are going to say that what you're saying is false and all this other stuff. But you did something that none of these other people did. And America, if you are watching this, let me tell you, just like with the Kavanaugh trials, you had people making extraordinary claims and had no extraordinary evidence. So with this Operation Hot Musket, this is an extraordinary claim, and I require extraordinary evidence. So, using Occam's razor theory, this lady just got on here. She gave you her name. She gave you the contact name in the military, and she gave you the lieutenant's name or the general or whoever. She gave names out. She dropped bombs. After hearing all of these stories, I've heard no names. I've heard no lieutenants' names. I've heard nothing like this. So this is what I'm going to put up so you guys can see this. So thank you, caller, for the call. All right, I'm still going to do research and see what I can find out. But like I said, there's a lot of buzz about this. So let's go on to caller. I want to thank you for the call. I appreciate that intel. Thank you.
Hello?
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Randall, how you doing?
Excellent.
Okay, my boss, 25-year military vet for the Marine Corps. It's bullshit. No, he would have got a phone call and he said he'd be the first one to back Trump and them troops over at that border. My boss flew 3 tours of Iraq. He said it's a no.
He says no to what?
The Hot Musket is just a fear-monger thing. It's just to get people riled up.
Okay.
And you can look up his name. It's David Stockman, and he is the owner, CEO of Mil-Spec Corporation, who I work for in Pennsylvania.
You mean Mil-Spec Monkey?
MIL-SPEC Security. You'll see his picture will come right up. 25-year Marine Corps vet.
25-year old Marine.
He's 52 years old. He's 3 years older than me.
Okay, I'm going to include this information in that video that I'm going to put up so people can see. Like I said, you guys are dropping names. I haven't heard no names being dropped in all these other videos. Like I said, I'm not trying to, and the truth is look, I'm not trying to jump on other YouTubers. I'm not, man. But people are calling my show, telling me that this is true, and they're not giving me no evidence. They're not telling me anything. And I'm like, bro, I can't just take your word for it. You'd be out of your mind. You gotta have some
I'm behind everything you're doing, brother. Everything you're doing a hell of a job in getting the information out. And we're all human beings, and we all gotta respect one another and learn to listen and find info to prove it before we dispose it.
Yeah, because when you're coming out with this information about, like I said, I'm hearing talk about people talking about military killing Americans. Really?
Never happened.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you really think the military is going to come out here and come and kill a bunch of Americans? Are you serious? These are some twisted ass people that would do something like that. And like I said, the minute and you think that they're going to do that in secret and nobody is going to see, somebody's going to see that and they're going to be like, yo, a bunch of military people are shooting up Americans. I got video of this. And let me tell you something. A bunch of American vets and Americans, we're going to wait for those guys, and we're going to ambush those guys, and we may end up killing them. And whichever one survives, I'm going to ask you, why the hell were you going up killing a bunch of Americans? Who told you to do that? Why would you do that? You swore an oath to this country.
To this country to protect against all enemies, foreign
and domestic.
Domestic.
Exactly. So that means if you get an order, that means
it's full of domestic terrorists.
Exactly. That means if you get an order from somebody who tells you to go do something like that, you guys are supposed to stand up and say, hell no. These are my people.
Exactly. So, I'll let you get another call on my brother. All right. You keep spreading the word.
That's what I'm doing, sir. That's what I'm doing. Thank you. That's an act of God. 2 people called in back to back, and they dropped names. So, like I said, I'm not gonna fall for this crap. I'm not getting in no wars and battles with YouTubers about this stuff. That's fine. If you want to watch that, great. You watch that. But you guys are calling my channel asking me about this, and I'm just telling you guys, I do research. I don't just take people's word for stuff, man. Because I have a responsibility to you guys that are watching my channel. I got to make sure that I'm giving you the best information I can give you. Because if something, like I said, this thing that's going down with the Mexican people, that ain't a lie. That's really happening. People are leaving America to go to Mexico to go back their people up. And there might be a shootout that happens over there. That's real. But you got people telling me, oh, you need to look at what's going on with these tanks over there. Why? How come I'm not getting 1 million people and there's not a big scene about that? I'm not gonna give, and Alex Jones isn't reporting on it. I haven't heard anything from Alex Jones about it. So I gotta report on what I'm reporting on. I report on illegal immigration and what's going on in America. And that includes some conspiracy stuff, but only the stuff that I can prove and find out about.
All right, so in the interest of full disclosure, I misspoke. When I queued up Randal K. Taylor, I called him Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams is a very funny guy. He's a comedian. He posts really funny videos on Twitter. This is not Terrence K. Williams. This is Randal K. Taylor. Same middle initial, my mistake. Thank you, Randal K. Taylor, for taking 2 calls back to back who dropped verifiable information. And I also, in this little part right here, have to, owe a debt of gratitude and give a big shout out thank you to Glow, because it was Glow's channel and interaction with Glow, which is in his comments. You can go, or hers, you can go to that channel, links in the show notes as always, and see our exchange where Glow tipped me off to Hot Musket again yesterday, having first had it cross my radar earlier in the morning on Roy Potter's channel, Roy Potter Q&A. So let's move along. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check on the first caller to Randal K. Taylor, the Hal Turner show. Now, I have to put a caveat in here. I'm not going to bring it up. But when I researched the Hal Turner radio show, Wikipedia did not have, Wikipedia's characterization of Hal Turner is biased, in my opinion, by the way that they describe this individual. I have never listened to this show. I don't know who this individual is, but we are going to look at the text that he published in support of his position. Hal Turner radio show, U.S. National News, Wednesday, which would have been yesterday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is published in the category U.S. National News. Update, quote, Operation Hot Musket, close quote, complete fabrication. Update, 12:02 p.m. Eastern Standard, Sunday, November 18th. The so-called Operation Hot Musket, which claims elements from the U.S. military are being recalled to active duty and deployed domestically, is a complete fabrication, including the, quote, documents, close quote, purporting to be deployment orders. I have official confirmation from the Pentagon itself, Lieutenant Colonel Baldanza, that's the Lieutenant Colonel from the Pentagon that the first caller in Randal K. Taylor's clip cited. Okay. The documents allegedly showing deployment orders are, quote, not valid, close quote. There is no Operation Hot Musket. The entire issue is obviously a fabrication by some nutjob, either pulling a prank or a live action role-playing LARP. Where have we seen a LARP before in recent history, the last 12 months? A lot of folks have been duped by this. Updates below are in reverse chronological order from when this quote story close quote broke, so the item at the top is the quote story close quote is most current, with the earlier updates below. So the Saturday update is the most recent one that Hal Turner published. 22:11 Eastern Standard Time, which is 22:10, 10 minutes after 10 p.m. I just communicated with Lieutenant Colonel from the Pentagon via off-hours cellular and again via email. Regarding this alleged, quote, Operation Hot Musket, close quote, the Lieutenant Colonel told me, quote, there is no evidence that this is credible, close quote. And then the previous update was at 2025, the same day. The story at this link has been pulled down by the radio host Hal Turner. Certain information came into the Hal Turner radio show over a different form of communication, SATCOM, a satellite cell phone, basically. A souped up, supercharged, go anywhere, talk to anybody, almost, because nothing in life is foolproof, cell phone, which a volunteer news staffer thought should be published here. That volunteer made an error. Hal Turner was napping at the time after a very long day, I would imagine so. And the volunteer made a decision he ought not to have made. Crystal clear transparency. The information should not have appeared here publicly, at least not yet. Verification of certain claims is being efforted. If factual, certain information may be released publicly, but the facts are unclear at this time. More to follow. All right, so what this tells us is that one of his volunteers made a decision to publish this quote-unquote Hot Musket story, and Hal, was otherwise engaged in some rest, something you need, and then Hal followed up, and at 12:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, so the following day, 12-ish hours, 14 hours, not valid by Lieutenant Colonel Baldanza of the Pentagon. Okay, I think we've beaten that dead horse. This is about Dan Crenshaw, the guy who just won his bid for election. He is a former military, and so let's read the story. This is from Townhall. Dan Crenshaw had a perfect response when, quote, Face the Nation, close quote, panel said the press is under, quote, attack, close quote. Here's Dan Crenshaw, and let's read the story. Representative, and this was published, it doesn't say, oh yes it does, November 19th so that was at 1:28 p.m. by Courtney O'Brien for Townhall. Representative-elect Dan Crenshaw, Republican from Texas, is proving to be a force to be reckoned with in Washington. Now, he's an elected, he's not even there yet. Boots aren't even on the ground in D.C., or they may be by now, but at any rate, he hasn't been sworn in yet, and he's already proven to be a force to be reckoned with. All right, I'll stop editorializing. Not only does he have stellar comedic timing, as we saw in the Saturday Night Live, but he can calmly defend the conservative agenda even when faced by a panel of liberal opponents. Crenshaw showed off his impressive debate skills on this weekend's Face the Nation. His fellow panelists repeated the talking point that President Trump is undermining democracy with his attacks on the media, particularly CNN, for the second time in 2 weeks. The White House is revoking Jim Acosta's hard pass, noting his disruptive behavior as at a recent press conference. It is an interesting point, Crenshaw noted, but he wanted examples that prove that Trump was putting democracy at risk. If that's true, what about the election we just had? And we're going to skip this video clip because it's only a distraction. Quote, I always ask the question, like what? Crenshaw said. You know, like what is he undermining exactly? You know what? What democratic freedoms have been undermined? We just had an election where we switched power in the House. Democracy is at work. People are voting in record numbers. And I might add, during a midterm where nobody votes, it seems like. In the past, anyway. The panelists were eager to offer what they thought were great examples, namely, that Trump has routinely undermined the freedom of the press. Representative-elect Joe Neguse? Democrat from Colorado, brought up Acosta as one example, but Crenshaw said that was an instance of just one disruptive reporter. Crenshaw had a counterpoint. What about when President Obama placed press members under investigation? Nobody remembers that, apparently. Quote, Trump hasn't done that, close quote. When other panelists noted that Trump has, quote, literally attacked members of the press with his language during press conferences, Crenshaw, a war veteran, had the perfect response. Quote, I've literally been attacked, so let's use our words carefully, close quote. In fact, war is how he got the eye patch, having lost an eye from an IED blast in Afghanistan. And the rest of these comments and this article will be in the show notes as always. And one more follow-up just to refresh our memory. This is from NewsMax, and it was published Wednesday, November 21st, 2018. That would be today. Trump renews threat to send troops to border. Picture of President Trump looking very serious. And this is by Jeffrey Ruddock. Wednesday, originally posted Wednesday, October 24th, 2018 at 8:28 a.m. And so this is an update. President Trump again warned he is considering sending military to the southern border to block a caravan of thousands of people from entering the U.S. His latest threat came at a press gathering at the Cabinet Room. The Washington Examiner noted U.S. already has 2,100 National Guard troops helping the Border Patrol. Just a editorial comment here. The order of operation in terms of who takes the lead and who is supportive personnel at this point is Border Patrol first, National Guard second, and military troops primarily in a building and construction mode, and we're going to find out if that has changed. So, moving on. The quote, the military, not just the National Guard, Trump said, the military is what I'm thinking about. We can't have people coming into our country illegally, close quote. He added, quote, they, the military he's referring to, can do that. They're the military, close quote. Trump had also threatened last week to use the military if Mexico did not stop the caravan. He warned at that time he would, quote, call up the U.S. military and close our southern border, close quote, if necessary. And then there are some related stories at the end of the article. All right, I think we've beaten this dead horse into the ground. Let's return to the desk. All right, so what we've seen is that a story bubbled up over the weekend and has been spread over the internet and has gotten louder and louder and louder, but very little corroborating evidence has been presented. The story originated with a caller to the Marfoogle news show who provided what appears to be an order to report to a station for an alleged operation called Operation Hot Musket. We also presented to you some evidence to the contrary in the form of refutation from Lieutenant Colonel Balzac at the Pentagon via two different sources. I will tell you I am no military expert and never claimed to be, despite the fact that I come from a multi-generation military family. And I can say to you that if my son, the sailor, were still a reservist and he got an order to return to duty station, he would not publicize it. There would be a cautionary note in his mind that said, you know, I might get in trouble for publishing this, not going to do it. And that would be the end of it. So, I would suggest to you that you view this story, that at least the side of it that says the sky is falling and we're all going to be shot dead by our own military, with a very skeptical eye. Like Randal Taylor, it is not my job nor my intention to pick fights with anybody on YouTube, Twitter, Mumblet, BitChute, or any other platform that we publish on. However, if I am wrong in my evaluation that this is just normal call-up that the president has been on in defense of our borders since October 13th, when they left Honduras, the first wave, I will come and report to you and say, I was wrong. I went on the best information that I had at the time, and here are the corrections. I recognize that I have imposed on your time over what I have promised, but I felt this story was important and needed to be discussed up front as soon as I was made aware of it, and I owe a great debt of gratitude and thanks to both Roy Potter, who said, nah, I don't think so yesterday, I'm paraphrasing him, and for Glow for bringing it to my attention in a comment exchange yesterday on his or her channel. I very much appreciate the fact that Glow tipped me off yesterday, as have others in the past on other stories. Pyre Media and I can only cover so much. And so if you, as a subscriber, a visitor, a viewer, a guest, a follower, a patron, have a tip that you would like me to look at or a story you'd like me to cover, please feel free. info@halieusmedia.com. It's up there on top of the desk as our logo, which is a fly fishing rod. You can also reach me on Twitter at John1410. My DMs are open. Please don't abuse that, as have other people in the past to other creators. You can also reach me on Mumblet as Halieus Media. You can leave a comment on bitchute.com as Halieus Media, and also on YouTube in my comments section. I'd like to thank you very much for indulging me this extra time. I felt this story was very important, and I wanted to get on top of it and prove or disprove, as the case may be. In the end, it's up to you to decide what you believe. But again, the KISS principle says keep it simple. The simplest explanation is the most likely explanation. All right, for me and the restless, grumpy shepherd, we hope that you are blessed. If your reservist is deploying, we hope that you and your reservist and your family are safe and all your plans go smoothly. In the meantime, we hope that you have a fantastic day, the shepherd and I, until we see you again.